This is the 80s Show on iHeartRadio.
Say ho, ho, say ho, 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 ho. Let's start the show, let's start the show. Come on, let's go, come on, let's go. Say ho, ho, say ho, whoa, ho, whoa. Let's start the show, let's start the show, let's start the show, let's start the show.
Star Trek legend. I don't use that word lightly. Star Trek legend Leonard Nimoy passed away this past Friday, just gone by at the age of 83. He was, of course, Spock for nearly 50 years on TV and in 8 movies. He was also a poet, singer, and a really serious photographer who did some excellent work, released several art books. Leaves behind Susan, his wife, 3 kids, 6 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild. He passed away after a long battle with COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. He was 83. Last year, he talked about having given up smoking 30 years ago, but apparently knocking on the head 30 years ago wasn't soon enough. He was hospitalized 2 weeks ago for chest pains. Nimoy started playing Spock in 1966. Star Trek, it's amazing. Amazing the legacy that Star Trek has, and amazing the legacy especially that Spock has, and Leonard Nimoy. Given the fact that, well, Spock came into existence in 1966. Star Trek only ran for 3 years, but the cast came back for 6, count them, 6 movies, between 79 and 91. Leonard Nimoy directed 2 of them. He also appeared in the 2-part Star Trek The Next Generation episode called Unification. They rebooted the movies in 2009. He returned as the older version of Spock for both films. He directed the 3rd movie, The Search for Spock, where they brought his character back to life, and the 4th movie, The Voyage Home. Yeah, body of work is incredible. He also directed, believe it or not, 3 Men and a Baby. More recently, between his TV series and the Star Trek movie, he starred in the Mission Impossible TV show. Also appeared in the 1978 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Hosted a documentary series called In Search Of. Guest starred on countless TV shows. And returned to TV for the last time for a recurring role on Fringe as Dr. William Bell. Most people know him as Spock, or Leonard Nimoy, the actor. He was a Renaissance man like you wouldn't believe. Published books of poetry in the 70s, released albums, studied to become a photographer. He was so serious about photography that he considered changing careers. He went back to school at UCLA to study it seriously after he left Mission Impossible, but stuck with acting because he felt like he couldn't make a living in fine art photography. But he did publish an amazing book called Shekinah, Art Photos. Basically, naked women in spiritual poses to represent the female aspects of God. And he released a full body project in 2007 where he captured the beauty of full-figured ladies who are also naked in a lot of the photos. He wrote 2 autobiographies, I Am Not Spock and I Am Spock. Bottom line is, when you read down the laundry list of achievements, it all pales in comparison to the contribution he made to people's lives and the way he touched people. I think it was best summed up by my brother-in-law, actually. He said, I love Star Trek. It's kind of a smart, hopeful snapshot of our aspirations as a species. It's a kind of fiction that can inspire lots of different in lots of different and positive ways. At the center of it are some very talented actors and creative people who bring heart and soul to the message, and Leonard Nimoy was one of those integral people. I didn't know him personally, but the removal of such a force for positivity and intellect in the world will be felt by me and a lot of other people too. It's a long way of saying we lost one of the good ones. R.I.P. Leonard Nimoy.
Tonight it's all good in the 713. With the H-Town Jam, came to the city with a master plan. H-Town is my home wherever I'm at home. I return to the land of the Astrodome. People who are used by TV Johnny treat you the same if you don't got money. Don't hardly ever gonna look at you funny. 8 days out of 10, it is always sunny. 7 to the 1, 1 to the 2. Come on everybody, rep the city for me. 7 to the 1, 1 to the 2. Come on everybody, rep the city for me. Whoa, 713, whoa, 713, whoa, 713. I live in 212, now live in 713. 212. New York City so gritty, I'm steady coming at you. But I got us out of my mouth, I immigrated, I made it. And in the H I can shine, in NYC I was faded. New York to H-Town is a move I made. East Coast to Third Coast, and I'm glad I stayed. New York, that's where all my dues were paid. But now in H-Town, I got it made. 7 to the 1, 1 to the 3. Come on, everybody, rep the city for me. 7 to the 1, 1 to the 3. Come on, everybody, rep the city for me. Whoa, 713, whoa, 713, whoa, 713. I love you 212, never than 713, whoa, 713, whoa, 713, whoa, 713. I love you 212, never than 713, whoa. 7 to the 1, 1 to the 3. Come on, everybody, rep the city for me. 7 to the 1, 1 to the 3. Back once again, the ill behavior. Delivering and giving your music a savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD. And can't nobody rock a body better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior. Delivering and giving your music a savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD. And can't nobody rock a body better than me. Hey, you, what's that sound? Coming so loud from your radio dial. AD, be getting down when you're rocking the jams. Here I am, going back once again. I'm ruling all city like a...
So as we get closer, ever closer to election time in 2016, the right has its work cut out for him, don't they? And it's ironic because, well, you know, President Obama, a Democrat, has legendary low approval ratings. And you'd think that it'd be easy to come in and sweep up with a changing of the guard. But the right has their work cut out for him for a number of reasons, most of which I think is humongous divisions on the right. People name-calling. People being like, you're a rhino. Republican in name only. You're not right enough. You're too right. Oh, God, it's kind of a mess. The fact that the expression rhino exists, Republican in name only, is a bad omen for the right in the upcoming election. You remember when the Tea Party first came into existence? You remember when it came about, it was something that, if you're like me, you kind of thought it was sort of cool because, well, it felt inclusive. But somehow, somewhere along the lines, it's been hijacked. It's been sort of negated almost by the far right that have taken it over. It used to be this thing that was more about values and less about a specific party. And now, the right's a big old mess. And we'll get into exactly how and why it is so messy a little later on in the show. Right now, though, let's check in with super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser.
That's me.
That's you. In our segment, My Witness News. Certainly not fair. Definitely not balanced. Funkhouser, A, how are you? B, what's going on in the world? How was your weekend?
Weekend was good, man. I was playing the rain dance, jumping around in my front yard, and finally came, like, late last night. You know,
do you, I love it when it rains and gets cold. Like, that's my thing. It was a little gray and gloomy the other day, and our receptionist was like, oh, finally the sun came out. I was like, I know, I hate that. And she was like, you're the only person I know that can find a reason to be grumpy about sunshine. Like, you're mad at sunshine. I was like, well, it was kind of damp. And when it's a little sunshiny and it's been damp, then the water rises up through the air and you start sticking to yourself. It gets gross and sticky, and parts of you start sticking to other parts of you, and I hate that. And she was like, only person I know that could find a way to complain about sunshine. But with the rain, as much as I love it, if you are like Funkhouser and have puppies, that makes for some muddy paws. It's a little inconvenience. Do you have that, soggy paws?
No, they're on vacation at Grandma and Grandpa's house this week.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah, I anticipated the paws.
Right. I'm trying to come up with a rap song for my dogs. They've had them in the past, but I was thinking that you could do a great parody of the song Sabotage and substitute Sabotage with Soggy Paws. I really haven't workshopped this idea. It was just sort of an idea I had sitting on the couch, and it's probably not great entertainment value to be talking about it at this stage of the game, but it's funny, right? The dog walks in after a walk in the rain. Listen now, y'all, I got Soggy Paws. Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm glad. All right, now I don't feel like a total idiot. Yep, soggy paws when it rains outside. Or as my dogs call it, yucky toe. Trying to get them to go, like, in the rain, like, because they only like to go on grass, and when it's soggy grass, they're walking through it, and they're, like, literally picking up their feet, trying to, like, have them come into as little contact as possible. Like, yeah, yucky toe, inside, daddy, inside. And if they would just get it over with and go, the way they do when it's dry out, they wouldn't have to walk in the grass. But I tried explaining to them this to them, and they're like, we're dogs, Dad. We don't speak English. Although dogs, are you with me on this one? Like, how many words of English would you say your dogs know, Funkhouser?
Most of them, I think.
Yeah.
They just wish they could say words.
Yeah.
But sometimes they understand.
Like, I think my dogs all know about 15 to 20 words of English without even, and that's a conservative guess. Whereas, I have yet to figure out a single word of dog, so I don't know. I'm inclined to believe they're a little smarter than we give them credit for. All right, then. What's going on in the world?
Well, William Shatner missed Leonard Nimoy's funeral and sent his daughters instead.
Yeah. Part of his ongoing mission to boldly go where many self-centered a-holes have gone before. In his defense, I don't think William the Shatner really goes any place where he doesn't get top billing. What else?
Or a discount. Dakota Johnson hosted SNL over the weekend and is receiving backlash over a controversial sketch where she joined ISIS. Did you see that?
No.
That was wonderful.
Yeah. Sketch was in poor taste, apparently. Still not as offensive as calling what she did in 50 Shades of Grey acting, but poor taste nevertheless. And this is what makes SNL so great. Like, you couldn't be coming off of a period where more people are more reverent and respectful and up SNL's butt. After the 40th anniversary, everybody looked at their body of work and everybody looked at what they meant to them over the years and went, SNL is the greatest thing ever. And then 1 week later, they screw it up with an ISIS sketch. It's just so perfectly SNL. It's just kind of what they do. It's awesome. A bad Dakota Johnson ISIS sketch right on the heels of their greatest victory. I'm kind of glad they did it because they needed to become the underdog again. They needed to make it something that we could root for, and they were a little too popular there for a second. I love SNL. Go on.
Lady Gaga did a polar plunge. Now, what is a polar plunge?
Polar plunge? That's where you plunge into icy waters.
Oh.
When it's freezing cold out, you jump into the water. And she did it to raise awareness of her nipples.
Did she raise awareness? Did you see it?
I know about it. Hold on.
Lady seen Gaga the picture? Does polar. To Google.
To Google we go. Let's see here. Lady Gaga. She did it in Chicago. She did it with a bunch of other polar plungers.
Oh, here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the guy whose back she's riding on, his nipples are quite visible, but hers, not nearly as much.
Yeah.
What was she raising money for?
Bagpipe awareness?
Special Olympics. Mm. There you go. No. Raised over $1 million. That's awesome. Yeah, good job, Lady Gaga. All right. What else?
John Bon Jovi turns 53 today.
Wow. 53. I don't know what I'm going to get him. Perhaps I need more time to mull it over. Yeah, okay. Go on.
Daniel Craig turns 47 today.
Oh, right. Daniel Craig. James Bond. He's now old enough to feel the doctor's cold finger. It's funny because of a digital prostate exam. Go on. Yes! How long have you had that? You've just been waiting for me to come out with the right punchline for it?
You need a 1-2 punch, man. You got one right there.